in New York.
And now joining us here to talk about congestion pricing and what it could really mean for drivers is Robert Sinclair, who we all recognize. He's the manager of media relations with AAA Northeast. And welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here.
So what's the thing we hear, somebody said, AAA, that calling congestion pricing a stab in the back to New Yorkers?
A graphic characterization, I will admit, but one that many drivers ascribe to, especially when you consider that they're talking about taking $1 billion from drivers and perhaps more to cover the administrative costs, and there's no money going to roads. And in our region, the road improvement program out of Washington, D.C. says 46% of the roads are in poor condition, 23% are in mediocre condition, and the average driver on a yearly basis is spending an additional $719 to repair their vehicles, exactly, from the bad roads. So all this money that you're taking, 80% MTA, 20%, 10% for Long Island Railroad, and 10% for Metro North, nothing for drivers, and our roads are punishing our vehicles. It's not fair.
Just to go a little further into that, because every year, this is a statement you said, AAA responds to more than 200,000 flat tire calls throughout New York,
right,
many of which were due to potholes and other hazardous road conditions. You talked about the money, $719
sure,
on average for a driver. And I mean, that's just on top of possibly missing work to get the car fixed, or not getting the children to school.
Right, and take a ride-sharing service to drop the vehicle off and get it repaired. It's what I had to do recently. It just really is an overwhelming burden for drivers. Also consider the fact that drivers are already paying for mass transit. The tolls collected on the intra-city bridges and tunnels, about $2 billion a year. Fully half of that goes to mass transit. There's a petroleum business tax of 19.6 cents per gallon in the entire state. It's roughly collecting about $480 million for the MTA. It's about $122 for the average driver statewide, so we're talking about people in Syracuse and Schenectady and Troy and Buffalo paying for the MTA. They don't have access to MTA facilities, and about $40 of that $122 in gasoline taxes, not including the sales taxes on gasoline, goes to the MTA. 12 million licensed drivers in the state of New York times $40 each is $480 million, and it's not enough.
And it's not enough.
No.
Would AAA support a plan then that would take a portion of that money from congestion pricing for the roads?
We might. It really depends. We're still waiting on details on how this is going to operate. They don't have the technology on how they're going to collect the fees, how they're going to photograph the vehicles. Will it be in effect 24 hours a day? Is it going to be a discount for those who take the bridges? All the details are being worked out. So it's really difficult to comment on a plan that's not fully formed, but as it is now, we don't like it.
It is so confusing. I mean, you know, we talk to different people related to the auto industry, to lawmakers, to you know, businesses in the central business district who will be affected. And also we have the additional thing that goes with that. Governor Cuomo saying the pricing won't be revealed until
after.
Yeah.
Well, you know, and you mentioned businesses. The New York Trucking Association is against this plan. They're talking about $25. Sam Schwartz, Gridlock Sam, has crunched the numbers and said to get the necessary dollar figures that they need, it would probably be $12 for vehicles, $25 for trucks. We're in an era now where the online economy is just booming. So all these things that you're ordering online being delivered by a truck, and they're going to have to pay. So that's going to affect everybody. And it's, you consider everything from clothes to cars, foodstuffs, everything arrives in our area by a truck, and if they go in that area, they'll have to pay. And it's rumored, we're not quite sure, that if you live within that district,
that's another confusing part,
and you move around within the district, you'll have to pay even though you're already there. It's really very confusing, and there's a lot to go and a lot that has to be worked out.
The whole Easy Pass issue as well, a lot of people have problems with that, and so that'll be interesting to see how this is implemented, if it's similar, added on.
Right, and we just had a toll increase, and this practice still is that out-of-town Easy Passes are charged the cash rate, or the mail rate now on vehicles that don't have local easy passes. So they're paying $19 to go across the Verrazano Narrows Bridge, most expensive in the country. You get a discount if you have an easy pass, you get a discount if you're a Staten Island resident, but now we just had the toll increase, and again, the MTA is saying it's not enough money. We think there needs to be major reform to that organization before you throw a lot of extra money at them.
And one more thing before we go, Robert, and that is gasoline prices,
yes.
Because that's something also that fluctuate.
Yeah.
And we're talking New Jersey's prices are going to go up soon?
Well, New Jersey had 2 tax increases because the federal government seems to have abdicated its responsibility. There hasn't been a federal gas tax increase since the Clinton administration. That's where we used to get the bulk of the money to fix our roads, but there's no stomach for that in Washington. So 31 states now have individually gone up and raised their gasoline taxes. New Jersey has done it twice. And so this is what states have to do in order to get the money to fix the roads. The roads are in terrible shape. Not just here. The road improvement program from Washington, D.C. lumps New York City in with Jersey City, but you can take any of the roads in the tri-state region. Anybody who drives around here knows that they're all bad.
And we'll end with that.
Yeah, okay. On a happy note.
Robert Sinclair, the media manager for AAA Northeast. Thank you so much
Thanks
for being
for having me.